See, so we're going to talk about different testing methods, and it's pretty straightforward. There's 3 basic tests: smell test, magnet test, and acid test. And if you use the first 2 tests here as the first 2 sort of steps in the process, you'll generally knock out the need to use an acid test if you can determine if it doesn't pass the magnet test. That's usually your kind of fail-safe method there. So smell testing, metal will have a sweet sort of smell. Precious metals, think about when you've handled an old set of coins or keys and the way they make your hands smell, that brassy sort of smell. Precious metals will not have that sort of smell. So that can be sort of a basic step 1. Also, just visually looking at a piece, precious metals will not tarnish or lose that luster that they've got. So if you see a piece that it basically goes from like a silver look to a gold, then you can kind of just know right away that it's more than likely not going to be gold. So magnet test is the next and probably one of the most definitive tests outside of acid testing. This is going to be just a quick, easy way for you to take a magnet over, let's say, a jewelry box and see if anything is attracted to that magnet. Anything that is, you can just go ahead and say it's costume. Precious metals are not magnetic and they will not be attracted to your magnet. If you have a slight but not strong pull towards the magnet, it's probably because you have a plated piece of jewelry. If there is no response to the magnet whatsoever, you most likely have precious metals such as gold, silver, or platinum. So then acid testing, that's going to be your final step. If you've got a piece that's not attracted to a magnet and it has markings on it, you're going to want to go ahead and acid test it. And sometimes if it doesn't have markings on it, like we discussed last time, it could potentially be a custom made piece. So if it's not attracted to the magnet, you're going to use the acid test. Acid testing precious metals is the most definitive method, as I said. When testing precious metals, we're looking for a chemical reaction between the metal on the slate and the acid. The reaction we're looking for is an oxidization of the metal. Silver will oxidize and turn a rust red color when wiped off the slate. And gold will be slowly dissolved based on the purity. So step by step, begin by scraping the metal. And we're going to do this firsthand so that everybody gets some experience with what it actually looks like doing this in class today. So you're going to start by scraping the metal on the little slate slab to create a clear, defined line. You're going to visually inspect the line. Does it look off color from the original piece? If you're scraping a gold piece and you start to scrape it on that slab, does it still have that same gold luster, or does it now look maybe more of a silvery color? If it does look like that, then more than likely you've got a plated piece, and that's more than likely not going to be a precious metal. When testing sterling, you want to drop a drop or 2 of that sterling acid on that line that you created on the slab. Allow the acid to react with the metal in question for about 10 to 20 seconds. And you can get an initial idea by looking at the drop on the slate. If the drop starts to turn a blood red color, you more than likely or most likely have silver. To more definitively determine, wipe the acid with a paper towel and look at your paper towel. It should have a rust red line on that paper towel. If yes, then you do have silver. If no, then and it's more of a bluish green color, then there is no silver present. For acid testing gold, we're going to follow the first few steps in testing sterling. You're going to scrape a line onto the slate, examine that line, look for that off color. For gold, make a slightly longer line or make a series of lines because you're going to have multiple acids that you're going to use. Acids come in varying degrees of acidity depending on what type of gold you're testing for. 10 karat, 14 karat, 18 karat, and 22 karat. When testing for 14 karat gold, you're going to first start with a 10 karat gold acid. If the acid fully and quickly dissolves the line, then you do not have gold. You more than likely have a counterfeit or faux item. If the acid does not dissolve the line, move up to the next highest acid, 14 karat gold. And then so on and so forth from there. So like once you get to 14 karat gold and it dissolves that line, then you know you've got 10 karat gold. It's a little confusing, which is why we're going to do the hands-on for this. So when you're testing for a specific purity of gold, you want to use the acid that's one step higher, because that's what it's going to take to dissolve that other gold, right? So 18 dissolves 14, 22 is going to dissolve 18, and so on and so forth. So if you guys want, you can gather around the table here. I've got links for all the various products that you really need to have in your cache to test jewelry, to include the acid test, the magnet, and a jewelry loop to look for markings.